Welcome, Grow Getters. Welcome to today's Grow video, all about how to know if your seedlings are ready or not. And I am your MC. My name is Kendall. If you don't already know me, welcome to our Harvest Wellness Facebook group if you're in there. And if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching this on my private Facebook page, welcome, because I am sharing with you one of our best ways to aeroponically grow food. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. It's all about how to produce tons of food, to have endless amounts, and to grow in small spaces, to grow vertically. And I have some incredible guests on here today that are coming in live from their incredible farm. And I want to introduce you guys to my friends. This is Cherie Crow at ATL Urban Farm. And Cherie, tell us about what is ATL Urban Farms?
Well, that's a good question. But ATL Urban Farms is a seedling provider for tower gardens specifically, but you can also use our seedlings for any hydroponic or aeroponic system. But our primary focus, I guess our mission, is to help people learn to grow their own food. And so that's what we've been doing the last few years, is just reaching out and teaching people about tower garden and kind of giving them a leg up with our seedlings and helping them learn how to grow their own.
Oh, that is so cool. I love ATL Urban Farms. It's over, it's not too far from where I live, and they actually are here in Georgia. Cherie, how can people come visit you at ATL Urban Farms?
Yes, we'd love to have people come visit. So yeah, we are now, we started out in Cumming, but right now we're in Ball Ground. And if you're not familiar with Ball Ground, we are between Cumming and Canton on the north end. So I guess we'd be considered North Georgia. Not exactly urban, but we're still, we're still here. You can go to our website, which is atlurbanfarms.com, and it's got the hours that we're open, the directions, all that kind of stuff. And then we're also available by appointment for field trips, farm tours, anything we can do to help, just help people get started.
And I am so appreciative of what they do, because when I first got started as a newbie with aeroponic gardening, I was so nervous. Seedlings were the topic that just seems to really get everyone scared. Like, are we going to kill them? Will they grow? How do I do this well? What do I grow? And I'm so excited because that's actually today's big topic. But before we jump into that, I am curious, Cherie, before you started ATL Urban Farms, how much gardening experience did you have before this?
I had zero gardening experience. Clint, who's been running around the back, he did, and he had a real love for gardening and cooking. And I'm not good and had no connection with either one. I completely thought that all of our produce came from Kroger, and if it didn't, then I didn't understand the seasonality of food. I didn't understand the flavor of food. And I was the last person you'd want to grow your food. So if I can do it, anybody can.
That is so encouraging. And I can attest to that too. So we're going to get into the topic of seedlings, because people who are in our Grow Getter Challenge, you guys started them last week. So you've had a week of them growing. And so I want to give some more guidance, and Cherie's going to give us some actual, like a tour, because she is the seedling queen. So Cherie, could you show us some examples of different seedlings and what stages that they're in?
Yeah. Uh-oh, our fan just came on. So yeah.
This is the real farm life here.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to flip my camera around so you can get an idea of the seedlings that we grow. Right now we're getting ready for our spring and summer collection, so to speak. And we are growing about 2,000, we're seeding about 2,000 plants every week. And so this is just a little start for our summer, and then we'll just keep building from there. But here you can see, some of you may have already seeded last week, and they may still look like this. which is fine. And then as you go week to week, you're going to get more and more and more and more. I also want to point out, you see how our tables are green? Some of them, like this one, is really spotted green, and then some of them are lighter color. That's based on how long they've been growing. So that's algae. And algae is just a natural response to water and light being mixed together. So the older your plants are, older your seedlings are, the greener they're going to get. And your new ones are going to stay pretty.
That's encouraging to know, because I think if I had seen that for the first time and I was growing this, I would have been very nervous that I had some issue or something wrong. So thank you for sharing that, because I think everyone gets nervous, like that they might be growing mold or something that, will kill their plants. So that's good to know. The green is okay. Green's good.
Green is good. And really, I want to point out too, because I think that's a natural response is, oh, this has to be perfect. Like you think your tower's going to look like this all the time, and it's not. In fact, we always laugh that when you see the pictures of the towers online and they're so beautiful, I like to say they're doing something wrong, because you need to be eating off of this. And if you're eating off of this, you're only going to see half a plant, right? But most of our food goes to a restaurant and we harvest it full head. But don't be afraid to experiment. Yes. Don't be afraid to mess it up, so to speak. Remember, you are gardening, and every plant that you grow is not going to germinate, and every plant that germinates is not going to grow to its full capacity. So you just keep going. Just keep playing with it. I'll show you some of the differences too. Depends on what you're growing. So here you can see we started these basil on 3-7, but we also started stevia on 3-7. Well, stevia is not doing anything, right? It's just it's not ready yet, because it wants really, really warm temperatures, and it just takes longer. So you're going to be growing things, and some will be ready in a couple of weeks, and some are going to take a month or more sometimes, depending on what it is that you're growing, and whether you're growing indoors or outdoors. When you get your seedlings started, it's good to have them on a heat mat and keep them warm. But you don't have to do that continuously. Like, I guess you'll notice too that we don't have any vermiculite on our seedlings.
Okay.
And there's no right or wrong. I'm going to tell you what I've been doing for the last 7 years. And you know what? Some seasons it doesn't work. Some seasons I have to change my method of growing, because we may have a really cold spring, or like we have a really wet spring, and things are going to respond differently. I really want my summer crops to be ready to go right now, and they're not, because it hasn't been warm enough. But if you get them started indoors, and can control that. But then when you're growing indoors, you have to do the flip side. You've got the nice warm temperatures, but you don't have the nice bright sunlight, right? So you have to make sure that you've got really good light on your seedlings as soon as they come up. And I'm going to show you what I mean by coming up. So here's some romaine. You see those little tiny sprigs, right? As soon as they pop like that, they have to be under direct light. And if they're not under direct light, you're going to have leggy seedlings. Do you know what that means? To have leggy seedlings,
Oh man, it sounds like we're having some technical difficulties with connection.
Uh-oh. Hey babe, do we have an internet problem? Yeah.
It kind of keeps going out a good bit. but it's all good stuff. I just wish it was clear because I know everyone's like, what is she saying?
Oh
She's giving
no.
away all of her secrets. I
Oh,
do have a question from somebody. I have a question asking, does stevia do well outdoors in Georgia?
yes, in the summer. It doesn't like the spring temperatures, but it will do really well in the summer. So we're talking June, July, and August.
Oh, good. Okay. Oh, one of the people just said they can hear us clearly. Yes, good.
Good. Okay, sorry about
That's
that.
good.
I won't move around.
Maybe
Maybe.
it's just my. We would love if you guys have more questions because it would be great to know. Does anyone have questions? I bet I know I have a question about seedlings for spring and which ones you would recommend. Do you have certain seedlings that you think are the best for Georgia and growing in an outdoor tower?
Yes. Well, this time of year is great. This is what we call, this obviously is spring. So what you can grow in the spring are same as what you can grow pretty much in the fall, where we have cool nights but warmer days. You know, Lord willing, and the weather's good. But the things I like to grow, and remember, I am not a farmer. I'm not a gardener. I'm learning every season, and I like to say, you know, push the easy button. Now, I see people online that are growing their tomatoes and cucumbers indoors. That's amazing. But that is what I would consider um, advanced or more, you know, someone who's really wanting to get into and just push the limits and see what they can do. So if you want to kind of stay in that sweet spot for this time of year, stay with your greens, your lettuce, and some herbs. Some herbs don't like it this cold. They're going to want to wait. Like we've got thyme. Sage is doing great right now in this season. But your basil, you saw, even though I started my basil, it's not going to be happy outdoors until the temperatures get a little higher. We're talking 55 degrees at night, and we're still dropping down into the 40s at night. So that's a good indicator. If you, Kendall, are you familiar with your hardiness zone?
I
For your
am not. Tell us about that.
geographically? Okay. If you go to the USDA or just Google hardiness, can you tell what I'm saying? The towers are going off right now, so that might help. Um, hardiness zone. When you Google that, you put in your zip code, and it'll tell you what the last frost date is for your area where you are, and you don't want to put your summer crops outside until after that date. So for us here in North Georgia, our last frost date is the middle of April. So I would not put my tomatoes or cucumbers, definitely not peppers or basil, outside until after that date.
Okay. I
So
do
if you're
have somebody asking a question.
earlier, but if you're north of us, you need to wait a little bit later.
Okay. I do have a question. I think this is a great one. I've wondered this too. How much water should you leave in the tray?
Oh, thank you
Ooh.
for that. Thank you. So the most critical things, obviously, when you're growing any kind of plant is water and sunlight, right? You have to have really good balance of both of those. Now, a lot of the information online, especially and even from Tower Garden. So I'm going to go back and remind you that I'm going to tell you how I do it. And everybody might be successful doing it different ways. I would not ever let my seedlings sit in water. Never. We water once a day. And if it's cloudy like this, I might water every other day. And I don't let them sit in water. You run the risk when that rock wool is sitting in the water all the time, you run the risk of having dampening off, which is when the roots just die because they're in the water too much. Remember, our systems are aeroponic, not hydroponic. And so that means that sometimes the roots are drying out a little bit and then they get watered again, right? If you're in hydroponics, they stay in the water all the time. but you still have to protect those roots. So I would water once a day, make sure that the rock wool stays damp, but not dripping wet. Like if you can squeeze it and water's coming out, it might be too much water. And you can use your nutrients to begin with. You just have to keep your rock wool good and damp. When those seedlings pop just a little bit, like I just showed you, you've got to make sure they're in excellent light, either outside in the sunlight, or make sure your grow lights are like this. So one challenge is, our germinator, which is a great system, but the lights are up here. I think they're about 8 inches. So in that situation, you want to raise your tray up right to where the lights are. And as the plant gets bigger, you can raise it far down, right, away from the light, because you don't want them touching the light. But that's a real critical part of having a good, strong seedling that you can put in your tower.
That's good. I have another question. Somebody asked, is there a way to check your nutrients?
You mean like in your reservoir? Like what you have in your reservoir?
I think that's what they're asking.
Yeah. So there is a way. I wouldn't worry about it, honestly. If you're putting in, every time you put water in your system, whether you're growing indoors or outdoors, you put water in your system, you want to measure your nutrients at the same time. So if you're going to put in a gallon, put your gallon milk jug, right? A gallon of water, and put the equivalent nutrients in the milk jug and put those in your reservoir. That way you always know that your reservoir is getting the appropriate amount of nutrients. In the summertime, so you start out with 20 milliliters of A and B per gallon. If you're growing outside in the summertime and it gets hotter and hotter, you can lower that to 10 milliliters per gallon. So anywhere between 10 and 20 milliliters per gallon in your reservoir is a good safe zone. You don't want to get it higher than that because the plant cannot tolerate that concentration, and you don't want to go lower than that because it won't get enough nutrients for what they need. But aside from that, there is a device called an EC meter, and that stands for what? Electrical conduit. Was it? Conductivity, electrical conductivity. I don't know why it's called that because there's water. It's not electrical, but it's called an EC meter. And if you want to be, especially if you're in a school or if you're in an education and teaching environment, get an EC meter, and that EC meter will tell you the density of the nutrients in the water. But if you're just a home gardener, look at your plants, and if your plants are kind of not happy, know that you need to adjust something. And as long as they seem to be doing well, then just, keep doing what you're doing.
That's awesome. Okay, this is such great information. Is there any last words you would have for some tips for newbies before we close this up?
Mm-hmm. Well, the first question you asked me, how do I know that my seedling's ready for the tower? Right? You can put your seedling in the tower at any time. Some people even start their seeds in the tower. Now, I would say one of the challenges with that is, are you getting enough light close enough to the seedling to get a strong seedling? That would be one thing. The other way to know is, let's see if I can do this. Are your roots coming out? And once the roots are coming out, see, this one's not so much. You see that? But then I might have...
Here, put it back up there again. If you put it up there, I got it on the big screen. There we go.
Sorry.
Oh, there we go. We can see it.
Okay. When you have roots coming out, that's pretty much a good time to know it's good to put your seedling in your tower. We don't sell any seedlings that don't have the roots showing, and that means they're ready to go directly into your tower. Do you want me to give you
great advice.
a little sneak? Okay. I mentioned leggy. The powers are coming on again. I mentioned what a leggy seedling looks like, and I'm trying to find one so I can show you. What happens is the plant is going to grow and it's searching for light. So you might see it turning this way because your window's over here. Your window's over here. So the plant will go like, be turning, trying to find that light if you don't have the light really close. But I want to show you a little trick that might help if that happens to you. So one second.
While Cherie's doing that, this comment, I can't wait to read this to her. She's going to love it. Cherie, somebody wrote, "You are the only farmer I know with pretty nails."
Thank you. That I did not give up my nails when I started farming. That is true. Thank you. This, Kendall, I'm having trouble here. Can you see
Yep,
this?
you're good.
Okay.
That looks good.
This is kind of what I would call a leggy plant. You see how it's very tall and kind of wimpy? This is a tomato, actually. This happens a lot with tomatoes or anything, but watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna see if I can do this. I'm gonna take this. This is a very weak stem. I'm gonna push it down in my gently. I don't want to break it. See how it's short? And I'm gonna put a piece of rock wool on top of it. See? Magic, right?
Whoa.
So now my plant is going to have time to grow a stronger stem. So when it goes in the tower, now this seedling was started on March 7th. So that's what, 2.5 weeks. Now I'm going to need to give it another, but now I'll try to show this to you after it grows out because it'll have a very strong stem and then it'll go from there. So if you do end up with a leggy seedling, one that is stretched because it's trying to get to the light, you can try this trick. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, you didn't lose, you didn't lose anything. But that's just a little trick for helping you, especially your tomatoes. Really, tomatoes, cucumbers, any of your summer plants, they'll tend to do this. So, any other questions?
That was so cool. Somebody just wrote this. They said secrets from the masters. Thank you. I agree, Cherie. And if you ever get the chance, I'm telling you guys, the first time I went to this tower farm, it just blew my mind. I was so it's perfect and calming. And even if you just want to go there just to feel relaxed. Oh, somebody wrote, "My cucumber leaves have been getting what I would describe as burn marks on them. I haven't seen any pests though."
What do they have? Fur?
It looks like burn marks.
Oh, burn
on it.
How old are they? Because it could be the seed. Did you notice? I'm going to take you with me. I'm going to walk over here to where my cucumbers are. Because it may be. I'm sorry. I will make it.
She said her plant is 4 to 5 weeks old.
Okay. You see
and
here,
the
cucumbers. You see how these first leaves? Is that what you have?
That looks very burny. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just where the seed was attached, like here. See the seed? But even though you didn't see it, it could still see that. Are you growing, or are your seedlings indoors or outdoors? Are you like you have them in a windowsill or on a heat mat or?
I don't think she's got seedlings. I think they are maybe already in her tower. I think she said they're 4 to 5 weeks old.
So
That
you're
not okay. She said not like that. Let me write it up here. They are 4 to 5 inches big. The leaves are something. There's something going on leaves, and something's going on the leaves. And it's an outside tower. Has lots of male flowers.
what's the temperature? What's your nighttime temperatures?
She lives down in South Florida. She's probably like in Boca
Yeah,
area.
you should be nice and warm down there by now. That would be my first thing is to say, and what you could do, I don't know her name, but tell her, send me a picture.
Okay.
Go
I'll
to
have her send you a picture.
support or send a picture to send a picture directly to me if you know my email, or I can give it to you. And yeah, no, we help people. That's something, and I learn every time too, because there are things that we've never seen, and we can do some research and figure out what might be going on.
That's great information. I think that's all the time we've got for today. People are loving what you're talking about. They love the rock wool tricks. They think that's super cool, which I agree. And we'll have Cherie come back on here if you guys, which you guys, I know you loved her. Maybe we'll be lucky and get to have this girl come back on again and amaze us with more information.
That'd be great. And reach out to me. Don't hesitate to, Kendall's got my number. I bet everybody on this call, half the people have my personal phone number. So don't hesitate to reach out, because we want to see everybody be successful.
Absolutely. And Cherie has some exciting news too. They are opening a second location. Are we allowed to share that on here?
Yes, I would. So we've partnered with an organization, a nonprofit organization that works with veterans on their reentry. And so we're going to have an indoor farm, completely indoors, in a shopping center in downtown Cumming. And that should be open the 1st of May. And I hope that I hope that a lot of you will come out and just be supportive of the program. We'll be growing food and we'll be selling food, but the main part of our program is to train veterans who want to be farmers and to help them get their own farms started. So we're super excited about that and just very humbled to have the opportunity, really.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for that. That's going to be so cool. And I have one more question asked. Can we order seedlings from ATL Farms if we don't have time to grow our own seedlings?
Yeah. Please.
That's why they're here.
We ship nationwide on Tuesdays. So get your orders in before Tuesday, and we'll ship on Tuesday so that they'll always arrive by Friday. We work really hard, and like I said, find a variety of things, try a variety of things, find the ones that you really enjoy, learn to grow those, and then supplement with some of those stevia or things that are harder to grow that you don't want to have to mess with. So yeah, absolutely.
Oh, this is fun. Oh, and which shopping center are you going to be in?
Oh,
do you know?
Called Tri-County Plaza. We're right off of exit 14 and 400.
Okay. Oh, fun. I cannot wait for that. And how would people get information for events that you guys are doing?
Be sure you get on our email list to begin with. You can do that at ATL Urban Farms, but you can also go to Sweetwater Urban Farms, and because ATL Urban Farms is where you're going to find all the information about seedlings, as well as how to grow your own food. And Sweetwater Urban Farms is the name of our farm. So that's where we grow food. The restaurants that we work with, we help other farmers. So we do both sides, helping the gardener and helping the farmer. So you can go to either one of those websites.
Okay. And then, oh man, I have another question. If somebody wanted to start a tower farm, how would they get started?
Call me.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we have
Call
all through,
Cherie
all
because
the
we
way
need
from
one in Gainesville.
from the design side all the way to installation and helping with the operation side. So we walk beside you each step of the way. Yep.
Oh, this is so cool. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. We will definitely have Cherie back on here. Cherie,
I love that.
thank you times a bazillion for coming on here and just being so wise and sharing your knowledge and also being very authentic. I think this has shown people that you can go from zero knowledge to jumping all in, and it's a growing process. It's not about perfection. It's about progress and growing with the plants, learning them. And I'm going to wrap this up with one cool final thing. We have a Grow Getter Award for our participants in our 9-week Grow Challenge. And the winner of this week is Adam and Courtney Lewis. Congratulations, guys. You get a $10 gift certificate from ATL Urban Farms to get some seedlings from them. So I cannot wait for you guys to get some cool stuff. You will be able to get a couple of different varieties, and what a cool gift to get. So check it out. And if you guys want to order some things, I'm going to post a lot of follow-up content onto the Facebook page so that you can get on the email list. You can check out the website. I'm going to try and put up the events so that we know in May when to all go and be at the party at Cherie's place. So thank you, Cherie, so much.
I appreciate it. Love you.
Love you too. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone.
Good job, baby. You're such a good host.